know what does kind of suck that we might...
Did you see that?
Ooh. That we might touch on is that Taika Waititi doesn't want to direct Guardians Volume 3. He says it feels like walking into somebody else's house and saying, I'm your dad now. Y'all ready for this podcast doubleheader?
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Nerd Crew podcast. We are so sorry that we missed last week. We had some scheduling issues and everything like that. But we're back and we're better than ever. We took a week off to rejuvenate, and we're we did it at the right time because this week was a massive nerd week, as well as a sports week. But the nerd week, at least, was more exciting than the Super Bowl because, good God, that game was boring as crap. And then Maroon 5 made it a lot worse because I am not a... Anyway, that's a different tangent. That's for a different podcast that we're not ever going to do. But as always, I am your man, Andy York. As always, I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend himself, the guy rocking the Who, Jason Lee. Jason, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm here. I think I've said that already once to you, but I'm here and I'm ready to go. So, kind of going off of what we know this week, it's been a really big week. The last 2 weeks, we've had a lot of news come out and a lot of news break, which we are very excited to talk about. But I didn't really tell you this before. I'm just kind of throwing it at you because that's when you do your best work.
All right.
Since we didn't do what we're into last week, that means we've got to do 2 this week. So what are 2 things that you've been into the last 2 weeks?
Okay. I'll say one thing is Stranger Things. And I think I said that 2 weeks ago, but I'm farther along in Stranger Things. I'm almost done with season 2. And so I'm almost caught up, which is very exciting, and I'm really enjoying it, and I see why everybody likes it so much.
Yeah.
It's a great blend of adventure and sci-fi and like a little bit of
everything.
like thriller,
yeah.
And like romance and stuff like that. It's like got everything just in one complete package. It's got a lot of style to it too.
Mm-hmm.
Being set in the 80s, they did a really good job with that. So my first thing is Stranger Things, and I'll let you go while I think of something else.
Okay. So I recently, and by recently I mean yesterday, bought the new. I know I'm behind on this, but I bought Let's Go Pikachu. I think that's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a lot of fun. I've actually enjoyed it. I played it all day. Well, when I got home from school today, I played it all day basically, and it was a lot of fun. So that's something I'm looking forward to playing, and looking forward to doing as well. And I'll go ahead and do my second one. I'll give you a little more time to think. But what else I'm into this week, and is something everybody, if you're a pro wrestling fan, should be into, is myself and Nico from New World Nerds came together and we collabed, and we have started our own pro wrestling podcast called the New World Wrestling Podcast. We had our first episode go up yesterday or Sunday. I don't remember. Yesterday. It went up yesterday. Well, the audio version went up Friday. The video version went up yesterday. So if you're a pro wrestling fan, check it out. We talked about TakeOver Phoenix, which was a great show. But then also we are starting this week as well doing our Raw and SmackDown reviews every Thursday. So look forward to that on Thursday as well. So yeah, we've got a lot of exciting stuff. Plus, I think we're going to do a lot more with this channel as well. Hopefully getting some new things coming in the future. We just got to figure out a time and a schedule and work everything out. But we will get there at some point, and we'll figure it all out. So that's what I'm into the past 2 weeks. Jason, what is the other thing that you are into?
My other thing is Piranha Plant in Smash Bros. Piranha Plant came out in Smash Bros. And I'm so excited, and he is so much fun to play as. That up B, you can carry somebody all the way up to the top of the stage. That's what I've been doing. It's super sweet. That neutral B,
Yeah.
and everyone who's played it knows what I'm talking about. The neutral B that you use, you like shoot this ball with spikes up into the air, and you can like throw it just a little bit, and it's like super powerful. Piranha Plant is a lot of fun to play as. He's everything I hoped for, and maybe one of my new top mains. Not because he's just that amazing,
Right.
but because he's like just so much fun to play as.
Right.
So he really lived up to the Plant Gang
The
hype.
Plant Gang type. Oh man, I am so far behind on that game. It's not even funny. Because I got my Switch at Christmas, and so there was already like 6 games I want to play. So I'm playing each one of them at the same time. So I'm trying to bounce back and forth, and it's all a mess. But I'm getting there slowly. But yeah, it's been a really good 2 weeks of just a whole bunch of stuff. But before we jump into our actual podcast itself, we want to make a little announcement for our live stream viewers. Right after we get done, we will tweet out as well. We are doing our New World Nation podcast with Nico from New World Nerds, and we are reviewing Iron Man 3. So if you want to check that out, make sure you go over to his YouTube channel. I'll make sure to put a link somewhere. I'm going to throw a link somewhere. I like throwing links everywhere. But we're going to put it there, and make sure you check it out. I don't know if we're live streaming or not. If not, then whenever it comes out, check it out because we are very excited. I think we're going to have different opinions, all three of us, and it's going to be a lot of fun because we are building closer and closer and closer to Avengers Endgame, which we will talk about at some point. Oh, look, he already put the link in the description. That's how good of a guy he is. I appreciate it. In the chat, so check out the chat. I put it in there as well. And click on the link there as well. So yeah, we have had 2 trailers come out this week. But before that, we've had 2 newsworthy segments that we will talk about. And the first one is we got our wish. We finally got our wish. Affleck is no longer playing Batman.
Yeah.
And I know both of us are pretty happy about it. And I think as a whole, I think the consensus is that most people are happy about it because we got news that the Batman movie is not coming out until 2021, which is ridiculous that it is taking them this long to make a freaking Batman movie for their DC world.
There's a lot to unpack. First of all, Ben Affleck was not the worst Batman. Only because there was George Clooney. In Batman vs. Superman, he was tolerable for most of the movie, I would say. And he did a pretty decent job, I would say, at some points. Even though the movie was a complete mess.
Yes.
Ben Affleck was one of the better things about it. In Justice League, or in my opinion,
yeah.
In Justice League, he is just the worst. He's one of the worst.
He doesn't do
characters.
anything.
Exactly.
Like, he literally doesn't do... And, like, that's the problem when you've got a grounded hero, for the most part. Batman's a pretty much grounded hero. Mm-hmm. And then you've got Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, and you're fighting not Doomsday. Steppenwolf. Well, anyways, that's a different topic. But, like, and so he's going to be outnumbered. And, like, that's why you need a good Bruce Wayne and Batman to make his character interesting. And plus, like, I don't think it's all Affleck's fault. Like, I think it was the way the movie was written really did not help Batman's character at all. So I don't think we can throw all the blame. I think he did the best that he could do with what he got. For the most part. There are some times that you could tell he did not want to be there.
I think he was really tuned out.
And, well, I think going back to Batman vs. Superman, I think he did the best that he could have with that role.
I agree.
And then I think he realized what they were doing, and I think he just toned out and was like, you know what, I'm getting a paycheck for this, but I do not want to do this at all.
Most of the actors were tuned out of Justice League.
I think Gal Gadot was the only one that, for the most part, was in it the entire way.
Ezra Miller was having too much fun.
Yeah, way too much fun. I don't like him all that much. I would be fine if they honestly I would be fine if they rebooted everybody except Aquaman. I'm fine with Aquaman. I'm fine with Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Like, I'm fine with those 2 characters. Keep what's her name playing Harley Quinn because she plays it really well as well. So, keep those characters the same. But if you want to rewrite everybody, please do it. We need it at some point. But going back to the fact that it's taking them... Because Batman vs. Superman came out in 2016.
I think so.
And now it's 2019. We still don't have a Batman movie. And we're not getting one until 2021, which will most likely not even take place. We probably won't even get that movie. They'll probably keep pushing it back until they decide not to make it, which is very depressing for a DC universe or worlds of DC. And you're not even going to have... probably your main character to most people.
The good thing about it is that what they're proposing with the DCEU is they're going to focus more on individual stories, and they're not going to worry about team-ups, at least for a while, which is super great to me because they rushed into the team-ups so quickly, and it just completely fell apart. And with the Batman, with Matt Reeves' Batman movie, you have an opportunity to reboot Batman. Mm-hmm. And I'm really, really glad that it's not going to be in DCEU continuity, because that continuity is garbage, and you can't really do anything that good with what you have already established as your tone. Yeah. So this is really exciting. I hope that this movie can kind of break Batman out of...
the funk he's in.
The issues that he's been in since... right after The Dark Knight Rises. Yeah.
Yeah, because Batman vs. Superman was the first Batman movie since The Dark Knight Rises.
Mm-hmm.
So it had big shoes to fill anyway. Not from The Dark Knight Rises movie, but from that trilogy itself.
And it was also supposed to put Batman in the center of the DC universe that they were going to construct.
Right,
and you have to sell Batman if you're going to construct a DC equivalent to the MCU.
Right.
You know, that's like bringing in Captain America or bringing in Tony Stark. You have to bring in Batman, who's supposed to anchor the entire universe. Such huge shoes to fill.
Mm-hmm.
And now those shoes are vacated, so now they can take that in another direction.
Now they're picked up by Aquaman and Wonder Woman at the moment,
yeah.
Which, if they want to roll with it, that's fine. But because as of right now, those two are the only two characters that I even sort of care about.
I
know
would
what
say
I mean?
Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and Harley Quinn are the three main characters in the DCEU.
Yeah,
right.
I would say that. Which, if that's the direction they want to go for it. You know,
if it works, it works.
Because I think we are on the right direction with Aquaman. I think we both agreed that it wasn't the best movie, and we realized going into it wasn't going to be the best movie, but it was a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a good direction that we're going to go into. Now, I think the next DC movie we're getting is it Wonder Woman or is it Birds of Prey?
Shazam
and then Wonder Woman. Okay.
Then Birds of Prey.
I already forgot about Shazam. That's not good.
Which I have high hopes for Birds of Prey, and I hope that they really nail Harley Quinn better than in Suicide Squad. We
didn't talk about this either. We'll jump into the little teaser trailer thing that they released that wasn't a whole lot. I don't know if you saw it or not. It wasn't a whole lot. But it was... Anyway, we'll get to that in a second. I'm all over the place right now. But I do think that if you want to make those three characters your top characters, then by all means go for it. I think Aquaman, you could save Aquaman's character after the first movie. I think you could bring back Wonder Woman's character from her movie. And I think if Birds of Prey goes extremely well, I think you can bring Harley Quinn in and do something with her as well. But I do think if they don't do something quickly, then it's really all going to fall apart. And I think we've been saying that for a while, but I think we've started to see the cracks are starting to form, which is not something you want for your universe, your movie universe.
And it's so weird. If we were to equate like the character roles in the DCEU as compared to the MCU, it's like if you had Thor, Ant-Man, and Rocket as like the three characters you were most focused on moving forward, instead of
Iron Man, Captain America. Yeah. Which is...
It's pretty strange, but if they can make it work, and if those actors are the ones that are most engaged...
Then go for it.
And if it's the ones that... I mean, apparently everyone wants to see Aquaman because it's now the highest-grossing DC movie ever.
Yeah. Which I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I just think it shows how bad DC has been, for the most part. And I think Shazam will do really well as well. Because I think it's got more of a... And I think the reason why Aquaman did so much better is because it had, even from the trailer, it had a lighter tone. Like, it didn't have this dark, gritty, DC feel. It felt like it was an actual... Like, a movie that you would want to go see and that you could actually comprehend and enjoy. And I think Shazam's sort of the same way.
What Aquaman proves to me, and I think Shazam will be the same way, is that there's such a high demand for a DC MCU equivalent.
Yeah.
Because people were saying when the movie came out, it's the one that's most like the MCU. Now, I don't think that's like necessarily totally a good thing for DC. I don't think that Snyder has been a good thing for DC, obviously. They can take things in whatever direction they want to, but if this is the direction that works, at least for this Aquaman movie, obviously there's such a high demand for it because this grossed more than The Dark Knight. It grossed more than any of the Burton Batman movies.
Yeah.
It grossed more than any DC film ever. It just shows how much people want an MCU equivalent out of DC because these are such popular characters that have been so poorly handled.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I see.
Yeah, and I think that's a very fair point as well. We have in the chat here, he said, did you guys hear about the proposed Snyder Justice League trilogy that never happened?
I skimmed over it.
Yeah, I didn't look at it, so I'll let you...
I skimmed over it. I don't remember most of it. A lot of it had to do with Darkseid. I wasn't totally in love with the ideas there. One of the biggest issues with DC's cinematic universe for me is that Zack Snyder's vision of the DC universe sucks. Just to put it plainly, it just
does.
sucks.
It does.
And you have to, if you're translating a comic book universe or any universe to a movie, you need someone who is looking into that universe, who has a vision of what that universe is to them, who then takes their personal vision, like Kevin Feige, or like the Russo brothers, takes their personal vision of what this is and puts it out there.
Yeah.
So it's like you have a product, you have idea, and then it has to be channeled through whoever the creative person is. And Zack Snyder is not a good channel for what DC should be. I thought, obviously it would be better than the Justice League movie that we got.
I think anything would have been better than the Justice League movie we got.
And I don't think it wasn't like the worst thing ever. And it could have worked, conceivably. But from what I know about Zack Snyder and what I know about his vision, I have like zero faith in him to execute that.
And we've seen it twice.
Right.
Like we've seen it in Batman vs Superman where they literally, and I know seems like a small thing, but it's not. Two guys who are literally trying to kill each other stop because of a woman's name. Mm-hmm. Like that is a massive that would be like someone bringing up to Thanos his mom's name and then he decides not to do the snap. Like, you know what? Like that makes no sense.
Gamora?
Yeah, like it makes no sense. Right, and like even then, like he killed Gamora, so like it showed how desperate he was. Both these guys were like, "Oh, your mom's got the same name my mom does. Oh, we're best friends." Like you can't do that and expect me to care about both these characters. Mm-hmm. Plus. Amy Adams, I cannot stand in that movie at all. I like Amy Adams, just not in that.
It's really sad.
It's really sad.
The other comment here is Superman is my favorite DC character, and it's because of Clark Kent, and Zack hated Clark Kent.
Yes, he did.
And therein lies your problem.
Yeah.
That's absolutely the problem, is because Clark Kent is more essential than Superman to the characterization of Superman, because it grounds him in who he is as a human. And if you hate the way that he's grounded as a human, how can you make that an interesting character?
And I think Lois Lane falls in that as well. Because if you don't have a
like
good,
an alien.
Well, she does. But like Lois Lane is more associated with like the Clark Kent instead. You know what I mean? Like Superman shows up to save her because she's always in trouble. But like Clark Kent and her have this relationship, and in those movies, like I could care less about them. In fact, like I was hoping that she would drown in Batman. Like I was like, can we just get rid of her, please? But like I still don't understand why Zack Snyder went the direction he went. Like it doesn't even make sense to me. Like why would you ruin Doomsday in the first movie? Why would you ruin Lex Luthor in the first movie? Mm-hmm. Like why would you give us two of like DC's probably biggest, at least Superman's biggest rivals? And then all of a sudden they're just, oh, there they are, and they sucked. They both sucked. It makes no sense.
The issue is that Superman isn't grounded in Clark Kent. Batman isn't grounded in Bruce Wayne. He's not a detective. He's just Batman who's out in broad daylight, just, fighting people and trying to help out when it's all these like gods and monsters around him. What is he really going to do? Wonder Woman isn't grounded in Diana. Least of all in her appearance in Batman vs. Superman. She just shows up and she's just like a warrior.
Yeah.
Is she with you? Oh, I thought she was with you. Epic dialogue. But Zack Snyder's vision of the DC universe sucks.
Yes.
And it doesn't, even more so, it doesn't translate well to film.
No. And I really think that they saw, by they, I mean DC saw the success that Marvel was having and just rushed everything. Instead of taking, because the one thing that everybody loves, or I'm by everybody I mean me specifically, but you know what I mean. Like the one thing that I really appreciate about the MCU is how much care they really take into their movies and like the setup. And like I know Kevin Feige gives the director like extreme like freedom to do whatever they want. They just kind of have to hit these bullet points, but however they get there, they get there. Mm-hmm. Like I love that fact, and I think that has really worked with the MCU. It just feels like DC didn't have a direction. I really think Man of Steel was a one-off, and then they were like, "Oh no, let's make a universe real quick because Marvel's having so much success over here. Let's create our own. Let's bring all these characters together." And it has not worked at all.
Zack Snyder was expected to fill the roles of Jon Favreau, who directed Iron Man, Joss Whedon,
Mm-hmm.
and Kevin Feige, and consult on all of the other movies. He was expected to be like the sole creative force behind the entire universe.
Right.
You can't expect that of
No.
somebody. You need delegation of power, and least of all when it's Zack Snyder, and again, his vision sucks.
Yes. It's all about, if your vision sucks, then it's not going to work out. And that's really, I think we saw that in Batman v Superman, and then we really saw it in Justice. Did he direct Man of Steel as well?
Yeah, he directed Man of Steel,
Okay.
BVS, and most of Justice League.
Okay. Then yeah, I honestly do not remember much of Man of Steel. Like, I have to go back and watch it to really, and I don't really want to put myself through that again. But I think we all agree that Zack Snyder doesn't work in the DC universe, or Worlds of DC, or whatever you call it. I think you really need to find, like you said, your head guy who is in charge of everything, who is involved in every movie. But then, like, you have your directors, like the Russo brothers, who do these big epic movies, and like they have their vision, like they follow Kevin Feige's vision, but then they still care about, and you can tell that in Infinity War, they care about every single character, and they get their moment to shine, and that's something that we did not see in Justice League, where they were dealing with 6 characters? 7.
Well, a lot of characters, but I think there were 6 Justice League members.
And then Steppenwolf, which they didn't care about at all.
He's not a character.
No. Which, once again, and I hate talking about MCU versus DC, but you kind of have to at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Russo brothers gave care to all of their heroes, but the movie was completely about Thanos. Mm-hmm. And, like, that is amazing to me that, like, they had all this attention on their heroes as well, but, like, the main force of the movie was Thanos, and he was the best part of the movie. Or one of the best parts.
I'd be intrigued by putting up a poll. Which character are you more invested in, Groot or the entire DCU Justice League?
Yeah, well, that can be your poll for this week.
That's a good, yeah.
That's a good poll.
Yeah.
That's a good poll. So, yeah, that's Batman. The Batman movie is coming out in 2021.
Which I am excited for.
I am too. And I think they should have gone in this direction from the beginning of getting a younger Bruce Wayne, not an older Bruce Wayne. And make him, however you want to set up your universe, make him realistic in the universe. Because the one line of dialogue that I hate I don't remember if it was BVS or Justice League, but when they talk about Batman when he went up against the Penguin, and he had those robotic penguin. You remember that? Was that Justice League? Or was that BVS? I think that was BVS.
I don't remember, but keep going.
Anyways, basically, like, that setup doesn't really fit in the DC universe. Like, you couldn't imagine the Penguin having these stupid little robots all over town doing whatever. I don't even remember what they were doing. So, like, make sure however you set up Batman is how, like, you set up the entire universe as well. And I think that's something that they can really look forward to and get into. So,
absolutely.
That's about Batman 2021. So we've got a little while before we get that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But more recent, I think we're supposed to get this movie in 2020.
Which one?
Black Widow.
Yep.
I believe so. As of right now, Black Widow is slotted to be the first ever R-rated MCU movie.
I would contest that, and I would say it could be R-rated, but I doubt they would do it.
I think as of right now they have it R-rated, but they also had a couple other movies R-rated and quickly put them down to...
The first Avengers was R-rated
because of the Coulson death, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which I really want to see how they actually did that at first then. If it got the R-rated, because that would be really cool to see.
And then they fixed it up, because...
Yeah, because that would...
You gotta make it... more
family friendly.
Yeah.
So, but... Here's my question to you. I'll ask you 2 questions. One, does the MCU need an R-rated movie? And 2, if they do, should it be Black Widow?
No to both of those.
Okay.
First of all, the MCU is like 20-something movies in so far. I think it's 20 with Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp made 20, which is a weird movie to make 20, but
right. And they've already proven that they can tell an interesting, compelling story, not including Ant-Man and the Wasp and a few others, but they can tell an interesting story with a PG-13 rating.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there is ever like a necessity, unless you have a certain character like Deadpool, to make it R. And even with that, you had Once Upon a Deadpool, which was kind of a PG-13 retelling.
Yeah.
But I think he works better with an R rating.
Yeah.
I don't know Marvel Studios' plans for characters in the future. If you're looking at Black Widow or Eternals or Shang-Chi or other things that have been discussed, I don't think that any of those films are ones that would necessitate or
require
really or would even work better inherently with an R rating.
Yeah.
Could they still be good? Of course they could. But I see Marvel Studios and they appeal to so many different people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the reason they're so successful is because they have such a broad appeal.
Yeah.
To both children and to adults.
Right.
So really making a movie R is cutting out a part of your general audience. That might be kids or not willing to go see an R-rated movie like Deadpool 2.
Mm-hmm.
So only if it's a property that like would really, really work well in that setting.
Right.
And they already did Daredevil on Netflix, and they already did Punisher, unless they want to make a Defenders movie, which we already talked about, which would be killer in like 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of any other properties that they're working on right now that would really necessitate that.
Yeah, I think, like you said, the MCU has set up this environment of it doesn't need an R-rated movie, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like PG-13 or whatever the ratings are now. I don't even know what the rating. I think they, anyways. But like, I think PG-13 fits extremely well with the vibe they're going for. Specifically, like I look back at like Iron Man and like Cap and all those. I didn't need those to be R-rated.
Mm-hmm.
When I think of an R-rated movie, one, I think of Deadpool, but then two, I think the DC would benefit more from R-rated movies.
In some properties, yeah.
Because when you think of DC, you think more violent, you think more gritty, you think more, dark. Even though it doesn't necessarily need to be, but I think like when you think of Batman, not with all characters, but like I think an R-rated Batman movie would work.
It could.
I think an R-rated. I think if you did an R-rated Deathstroke movie or a Teen Titan, like a live-action Teen Titans movie, I think wouldn't necessarily need to be R-rated, but I think it could benefit because of like the grittier version of Robin. Like I think that would work really well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you need an R-rated Aquaman movie. I don't think that would work. I don't know how that would work. There's just a whole lot of dead fish everywhere. But like there are some properties that need an R-rated movie. This like. The MCU right now doesn't necessarily need an R-rated movie. Now, we did talk about before we started recording, if they ever decide to do like Moon Knight on the big screen, I think Moon Knight would need an R-rating.
It could definitely work.
If they ever want to do an actual Punisher movie, I think it would need an R-rating.
Mm-hmm.
If you would need like some like really gritty characters in the MCU, I think would need an R-rating. Spider-Man does not need an R-rating.
Right. And with Phase 3, they've really been diversifying their influences, their creative influences, and they've been pulling from a lot of different parts of pop culture. So I could see them wanting to make a movie, maybe like a horror film, esque movie. I don't know which character that would be.
Right.
But if they wanted to take it in a certain creative direction that would work better in an R rating, then I could see that being a thing.
Yeah.
And it makes me glad that they're open to doing that because that kind of opens a door, hopefully, with Disney Plus as well. And if Moon Knight ended up being a Disney Plus show...
That would be fantastic.
Or if they wanted to put the Defenders on Disney Plus in 2 years, then they could do that and they could still keep it mature.
Yeah.
If that R rating, if that being open to R rating extends to Disney Plus as well, which I really hope it does.
Yeah, I do too. So I think we're both agreed that it doesn't necessarily need an R-rating movie, especially Black Widow. I think the only reason why Black Widow would get an R-rating is if, like, for violence reasons. And, like, if they wanted to make it gory, which I kind of could work, I guess. But I think if you saw her in an R-rated movie and then you go back and watch like, what movies? Captain America 2, and when's her first appearance? Is it Iron Man 2?
Iron Man 2?
Yeah. If you go back and look at those Black Widows and then you go watch the R-rated Black Widow, I don't think they would mesh very well. And I think it would kind of not dilute, but I think it would make you wonder about the character even more, not necessarily in a good way.
She's already been established in a certain sense, and I think that her origin is going to be a little bit more intense.
Yeah, which I think it should be.
Things.
I think it should be.
Definitely, because she has an intense background.
Right.
And she always has. In Avengers, they touched on it. In
Age of Ultron, they talked about it.
Yeah. So I hope it is intense, and I hope it is mature, and I think it will be, but I don't think she needs an R rating.
No.
And I also think that she's a really popular character, and you don't want to bar your success.
Right. It would be the first ever like female MCU movie. Well, second ever after Captain Marvel. But like, I think Black Widow would get more buzz because she's been around. You know, we just got introduced to Captain Marvel. Mm-hmm. Black Widow's been around for basically since the beginning, or closer to the beginning. So I think this movie would do really well. I'm very excited for this movie. Mm-hmm. Because I know a lot of people don't like. I know some people don't like Black Widow. I think she's amazing. There's the crazy thing about the MCU is like I think I care about like the characters who don't have quote powers like Hawkeye and Black Widow just as much as like about any other character. And that's because they have made us care about each one of these characters. Maybe not Hawkeye as much. It took me a little while with Hawkeye because in Thor he was just there. Like he was just there not doing anything. But yeah, I'm excited for this movie. I think it would be great. I just don't think it necessarily needs an R rating. But if Kevin Feige thinks it needs an R rating, then I trust him more than I trust myself sometimes. So go for it.
And if that's the movie they want to make, and if it works that way, then go for it.
Right.
But I just don't see that.
Right. So
yeah.
I think there will be a day we'll get an R-rated MCU movie,
and hopefully it works.
Hopefully it does work. Well, and then that kind of brings up the question of if they do an R-rated MCU movie, will he ever be able to do, or whatever movie they do, will it be able to be a part of the bigger team-up movies?
Right, and that's where Black Widow has a little bit of leeway because it's a prequel about an already established character.
Right.
So that makes more sense, but if you introduce a character with an R rating and then you have to tone them down, other than if it's Deadpool and he can make a joke breaking the fourth wall about the fact that he has to be toned down.
That would work.
Yeah, so it is a little bit different with Black Widow.
Which I think that's another reason why Hugh Jackman's Wolverine wouldn't really fit in the MCU. Because he's more of going back to Logan, that movie was brutal, like extremely brutal. And I don't really see that translating very well into the MCU. Now, I would love to see it. I think he could do it. I think he could tone it down and it would still work. But I just don't think it would be to the full potential if he didn't go all out like he normally does.
Yeah.
So,
there are a lot of reasons I wouldn't want Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in the MCU.
There are reasons I don't want him in,
still.
And there are reasons I want him in as well. Like there's I think for me it's like a two-edged sword. Like I don't want him, but then again, like if I did see him, I would probably freak out just about anybody else because that would be amazing to see him. So that movie comes out in 2020, I believe. I believe they've already started somewhat production on it.
Yeah, I think they've hired the crew.
Yeah.
And they've hired some of the cast.
So they'll probably start shooting really soon.
And it won't be a very CGI heavy movie, which is why it'll be pretty...
It'll be a very, very grounded movie.
Yeah.
Which I'm very excited for that part as well. I think we should get Hawkeye in this movie as well, which is going to be really cool to see. The only thing you may have is like the de-aging CGI, but other than that, it shouldn't be too bad.
Maybe we'll find out what happened in Budapest.
Yes.
That'd be cool.
That would be very cool. All right, so going from one MCU movie that is in the pipeline to our most recent, not our most recent, the most, I'm trying to think how to word this, the next MCU movie that we will see, Captain Marvel. She had a trailer come out during the Super Bowl as well. I think hers came out earlier, before.
After.
It came after? I didn't get to see the first half of the game, so I don't know exactly what order.
Yeah.
they came out in. But we'll go ahead and talk about hers first because we'll talk about Endgame last. Which isn't to say I'm not excited for this movie. I am very excited for this movie. Apparently a lot of people don't like it. They can go away. I don't really care about them because I think this is going to be one of the better origin MCU movies for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because one, I think the Nick Fury, Carol Danvers aspect is going to be great. Plus, like the CGI so far from everything we've seen has been amazing. And so I think this movie can only succeed. I think it'll be great. I think Brie Larson will kill it as Captain Marvel. What did this trailer kind of show you? Anything new, or did it raise your excitement, lower your excitement, anything like that?
It didn't show too much. It was just 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the first time that we've seen Monica Rambeau.
Yeah.
Which is exciting.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, and it's going to be a really cool setup to see her hopefully later. Hopefully show up, maybe join whatever new Avengers they're going to have.
Mm-hmm.
Be pretty sweet. But, yeah, I mean, it was just 30 seconds, and Captain Marvel is a movie that we've already seen a few trailers and TV spots on already, and hopefully I feel like I have a good grasp on what it's going to be like, and I'm looking forward to it.
And the cool thing is, like, we have a feeling we know what it's going to be like, but we still have no idea what, like, the premise is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think, for the most part, I think we're going to get flashbacks. I think it's going to be one of those origin stories of, like, she's already here, but then they're going to flash back to her past or whatever, which I think would work really well. But we still have no idea, like, who Jude Law's character is. We still have no idea who the one lady that shows up is. I've heard rumors that, or reports that it could be her mom, which would be very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of still speculation that we haven't seen yet. So I'm very excited for this movie to come out March 8th. I've already bought my tickets. I'm very excited for it. And I know I'll see it 2 or 3 times because I'm on spring break the week after, so I'll definitely go see it a few times.
Nice.
So I'm very excited for that movie. I think Brie Larson, I think she will fit in perfectly with the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she is the best character, or the best actress to get to play Captain Marvel. And I think it'll work out extremely well, especially not knowing what's going to happen at the end of Endgame. I think she could be one of the characters that really picks up the mantle and is like the next leader of the Avengers. If they want to do another Avengers movie or, whatever project, I think her and Black Panther and Spider-Man are going to be the 3 leaders. Probably Winter Soldier as well. They'll probably be the 4 main characters coming up as well. I forgot about him too. So really there's 5 strong characters coming out of this movie, which is amazing to think about. Even Ant-Man could come out depending on what he does in Endgame. So there's like 6 or 7.
Dies.
Ooh, we'll talk about that here in a second. But I do think that the MCU will probably continue on forever, which is great, and I'm very excited for it. I'm hoping like I'm 90 and rolling myself into a movie theater just to see what's going on with the MCU. And, we're at like 2,000 movies at that point. I think that would be great.
There's a chance.
There's a chance. I think it'll go on for a while, which I'm very excited about. So, Captain Marvel, we didn't talk much about that because we are saving all of our energy for this thing, which is the 30-second, I think it was 30-second spot for Avengers Endgame, and oh my gosh, it was the best 30 seconds of my life.
It was perfect. I was over at my parents' house for the Super Bowl, and we were just kind of hanging out. We didn't expect it to come on so early, but when it did, like, everybody
It got quiet.
in my house was just like,
Yeah.
and then afterwards everyone was freaking out.
Oh yeah. So I didn't get to watch it when it first came out. I was meeting with somebody. I don't remember what I was doing. But I kept feeling my phone vibrate because I have the Russo brothers, Marvel Studios, and what's his name? Jeremy Conrad?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have him on there as well. I have all of their notifications. As soon as they tweet something out, it goes to my phone. So my phone kept buzzing over and over and over again. And so when I finally got done, I checked it out, and I think I watched it like 6 or 7 times that night alone, which is absolutely amazing. So we're going to talk about this. Yes, it was the best part of the Super Bowl for sure, because everything else sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Maroon 5 sucked. My brother-in-law, I think he about punched his TV when they faked or when they teased the Sweet Victories.
Yeah.
And
SpongeBob.
yeah, and when they didn't do it, he was not happy. He was not happy at all.
It's just really sad because that's what everybody wanted to see.
Yeah.
And Maroon 5 just doesn't work live. And I don't really care for them anyway, but they're just not a band that works
They
live.
sounded better than Imagine Dragons did. They sounded a lot better than Imagine Dragons did.
If we're going to compare one expert to another, you mentioned Imagine Dragons. That's my least favorite band currently in existence.
Oh, yeah.
So
They're trash. So yeah, but definitely the best part of Super Bowl Sunday. So we are going to talk about this in depth. We're going to talk about this heavy.
Frame by frame.
Frame by frame.
I got it pulled up.
I do too. So we start off with, by the way, the new intro into the Marvel Studios logo is amazing. I love the black and white with the red detailed. That looks amazing.
Yeah.
I think that it really, because it gives you this eerie offsetting feeling at the beginning, which is great. And then you have the title disappear into dust, which is always great.
Well, and that was there because all the characters that showed up at the
were
beginning
snapped away.
Yeah,
which
the
is
heroes
great.
that we're missing right now.
Right.
Which is kind of funny to me, and it's kind of self-centered because the entire universe died, and it's like, here's these 10 or so people that you actually care about. Which I know, like, I get it, and that's how they're telling the story.
Right.
Like, it makes sense, but it's still just kind of funny to me.
Yeah.
It's like half the universe is gone, but look, it's the Wasp.
Yes.
That's really sad.
And Vision, his head got completely caved in.
Right.
So.
Right, yeah, this robot guy.
Oh, man. All right, so we start off with different shots of the city. Your head might get cut off a little bit here.
Beautiful.
But beautiful.
Establishing shots.
Beautiful establishing
please
shots.
cut off my head with this.
It'll be... so, like, you get the first shot is of New York City in... I think it's New York. It looks like New York. Yeah, it is New York. In, like, a clouded dust of, like... You know, the clouds are low. You can barely see the city, which is great. Then you cut to the shot of the Empire, not the Empire State Building, Statue of Liberty. And you have that shot of it just being dark and gray and grim and amazing. And then you cut over Citi Field, which is where the New York Mets play, and it looks like it hasn't been cleaned up in like forever. So it makes me wonder what the time jump is going to be.
I'm gonna wager a year.
Okay, I was going to say 6 months, 6 months to a year, which I think, but I don't know if like you would have that much like debris in 6 months. You know what I mean?
And a lot of the MCU movies follow real world timeline. Not all of them, obviously, but a lot of them do. So I can see them totally doing that.
Except for the Spider-Man Homecoming movie that said 8 years later, and like everybody freaked out over that.
That is a good example.
Everybody freaked out. So,
but with that shot of the Statue of Liberty, you can see all of these ships that have washed up.
Yeah.
On the island there, and with the shot of Citi Field, you can see a ton of cars in the parking lot just abandoned.
Yeah.
And completely.
And I think like if you look kind of closely, you can see it looks, and this is going to be weird, but it looks kind of dusty. Like everything just looks kind of dusty, which I honestly hope that when you like at the very beginning of this, because we're getting. Which we are both very excited for, because when we talked about this, when we texted each other, the first thing you said is we are getting a post-apocalyptic world, which is great. I think that's something we both really wanted, was a post-apocalyptic world. And with that, I hope like when you just walk down the street, you just see dust everywhere. Mm-hmm. Like I think that would be really eerie and like demented, but like great at the same time, and I would love every second of it.
Totally.
All right, so you go from the shots of New York to the shot of Captain America in a group setting, which the Russos love him in a group setting, which at this point I think anybody would be in a group therapy. But what's really cool is the poster at the beginning says, "Where do we go now that they're gone?" I think that's great. I love that, which definitely shows that there is like, this isn't like the day after the snap. This is like 6 months to a year after the snap, which is really cool to see. And then you get, you hear Captain America talking over the over the music. He says, basically everybody has given up, but not us. And then like that, like there are only like 2 lines of dialogue in the entire thing, and it is the best. I think this is going to be Chris Evans' best movie in the MCU, because the one shot we got in the trailer, the first trailer of him saying it has to work because I don't know what I'm going to do if it doesn't, to this shot is like, I think he is going to be. I think the first movie was about Thanos. I think this movie is about him and Tony for sure, which I am very excited for because I love Chris Evans. I love Robert Downey Jr. So I think this is going to be great. So you have them in the group therapy shot. You move forward. You see Tony and Nebula in, I forget the name of the stupid ship every time because it's got 2 different names. So the Benetard. And it seems like they're working on something. I heard somebody say, is it a new suit? I don't think it's a new suit. I think they're just trying to work on the ship. I really think. Or something to that extent.
Which gets me, like, really hyped. It's exciting to see them moving around and doing stuff. Since in the first trailer, he was just, like, sitting there.
Right. So, like, I don't think this might be after him talking to Pepper. And I really hope we don't even see the shot of him talking to Pepper. I hope that was just for the trailer. Because that would be really cool if that was just for the trailer itself.
And I hope, well, not I hope, but if you pay attention to this shot and the shot in the first Endgame trailer, it mirrors his situation in the first Iron Man, where he's stuck in the cave and he's got like the same like black shirt with the arc reactor. It mirrors where he was in the first Iron Man, stuck with that guy in the cave, and they're working on a suit of armor.
Yep.
Now we don't know what they're working on, but he's stuck in space with another person, kind of looking the same. It's really cool, and I'm glad that he's getting himself out of this situation.
Yeah.
Or at least it looks like that.
Yeah. I don't think we see rescue until the big fight scene at the end, or something like to that extent.
Now maybe Rocket goes looking for them, and he kind of like meets them halfway.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Something like that. But that would be any possibility. And what I love about this movie is like there are so many possibilities in this movie, like, and none of them would be bad. That's the best part, is all of these different matchups and all these different groupings. Like, who would have ever thought that the 2 people left, like, coming from Titan would be Tony and Nebula? Like, who would ever think that you would just see those 2 interact at all? And so now you're here with them, which is really cool, really interesting to see as well.
I think they'll have cool chemistry.
I do too. Yeah, I do too. So then you cut to the next shot of Rocket, who is going into some sort of old school building thing. It looks, I don't know. He's on a shoreline or something. He looked at. I'm glad we finally got to see Rocket in this trailer, which is, like you said, you finally get to see everybody doing something. You know, not just people. The first trailer was like, all right, they have no hope. This like 30-second teaser was like, but they still have a little bit of hope left. Like all's lost, all's gone, but they still have a little hope, which is cool. And if you look and if you lighten the picture and if you look at Rocket, it looks like he's wearing something different than he was at the end of Infinity War. Do you think this is the red and white suit that we've heard about, or do you think this is just a different new suit?
What it is it's Rocket's classic Guardians of the Galaxy costume from the comics. And it's blue, and it's kind of got buttons on it, and it's got red outlining. And people have pointed that out a couple times, but we haven't seen the red and white suits yet, and I'm looking forward to that because hopefully they look really good.
I hope they don't show them until like the movie itself. Like, I hope they keep them off the trailer until. And like I think Nico said this in his review of it, is that I don't think we're gonna get all the trailers we're gonna get. I only think we're gonna see the first shots from the first 15 to 30 minutes of this movie. Anything past that, I don't think we'll see till we actually go see the movie, which I absolutely love. Because we both said this is probably going to be like a 2.5, 3 hour movie, if not longer, which is totally great. So we have Rocket looking around, looking for something, opening a door. Who knows what he's doing, but it's going to be great. Then you get a shot, which is really cool, of Ant-Man and his mask closing, and then you get the shot of War Machine and his mask closing. So you got those 2 together, which is a really cool shot, really cool picture.
Now there are a couple shots here too that we've already skipped over. One of which is let me go back to it really quick. It is Steve, Natasha, Bruce, and Rhodey all out in a field walking away from the Avengers compound.
I think I missed that one. Yeah,
for something. Now, this could be Tony arriving, it could be Carol Danvers, it could be a lot of things, but they're just looking at something, and they look a little bit confused. So, yeah. Hoping that's Tony. There's also a shot here of Natasha in, like, some facility somewhere.
Shooting, yeah.
By the ocean, and she's shooting at a target and hitting every time. something about this trailer that I love so much is the cinematography. The color grading, this shot of Natasha, like the background to it is really beautiful, and the cinematography feels so expansive.
Yeah.
It feels like it's like so broad.
Yeah.
Which is really cool because it's kind of an empty world right now, and it really gives you that feeling. You totally don't feel claustrophobic. With Infinity War, there's like a million things happening on the screen,
and you're jumping, and you're jumping from scene to scene to scene to scene to scene to scene. Yeah.
But with this, it feels just broader and more open.
Yeah.
And there's like a lot of room for the story to be told.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I really liked about it.
Oh yeah. What I like about this shot with Rhodey and Scott is if you look in the back, that tree looks like it's like dead, like it's dead. Which is cool because one of the things that they mentioned is when Thanos snapped, he didn't just snap away human life, but he snapped away 50% of all life, so like trees and animals, everything. So I think that's a really cool aspect and element as well that we will see a lot in the movie.
Something I also got to put out there is I think that Ant-Man is my favorite costume in the whole MCU.
Really?
Especially the one from his first movie.
Oh yeah.
It's just really great.
Yeah.
I love the Ant-Man costume, and it gets me.
And if I skip any of the shots, just let me know. So then next, I think we get a close up of Thor. Just looking very depressed and grim and very Thor-like. And then we cut to another shot of him walking out of some area. I think some people said Wakanda. I don't think it's Wakanda. I don't think we'll see Wakanda at all in the trailers. I think you said on Twitter, Valhalla?
I think it's Valhalla. Yes, it could be a lot of different things. It could be just a nondescript location that we haven't seen before. But I can tell you with 100% certainty
it's not Wakanda.
It's not Wakanda. I saw somebody say Asgard, and I'm like...
It got blown up.
Did you watch Thor Ragnarok?
It got destroyed. It died.
A lot of the theories as to where this is just don't make sense to me. So.
Yeah. Which most theories to this movie, as of right now, don't make a lot of sense because people are jumping around everywhere.
I would say Valhalla is my most likely. Oh, there was somebody saying Titan, where Thanos is, which I also think is extremely unlikely.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, she's not even on Titan, is he?
Thanos?
Because Titan's destroyed. Well, not destroyed, but it's because he's on a farm, and I don't think Titan had any farm life.
What the Russos said, they didn't really give a location to where he was, but they said it was like New Titan, or Titan 2. It could be the planet reshaped with the Reality Stone.
Yeah.
Because Thanos can do that. He can fix the planet now. Or it could be a new location.
New Titan 2 could be Valhalla. Just saying.
Could be.
That'd be funny if just Thor's walking around, he sees a farm, and he just sees Thanos over there randomly.
Finally, I made it to Valhalla. Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be great.
You should have gone for the head.
Yeah. I think
that'd be sad.
Yeah. So okay, going back to that, I thought about this as well. With him saying that specifically, do you think he gets decapitated in this movie?
Thanos?
Yeah.
No.
You don't think so?
No. I do think that Thor has a good shot at being the one to kill Thanos. If Thanos dies, and I'd say there's like a 75% chance he dies.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't die.
It's either going to be Tony, Thor, it's going to be one of the 4 main Avengers. I don't think it'll be Carol.
I don't think it'll be
Hulk
either.
But if it's not one of the 4 main Avengers, it probably would be Carol. Or Nebula. It's one of the 4 main Avengers or Nebula.
Yeah.
I would say that gets the final blow.
I would say that as well. Alright, so we get another shot of Hawkeye, which is really cool. Which is really interesting is like his face is only lit up by like a red light, which is really cool. And it looks like, I can't tell, I didn't really look and zoom in. I can't tell if he's in his Ronin gear or what. Probably.
He's in his Ronin gear without the mask.
Yeah. So, I don't know if this is before Natasha shows up or after.
I'd say after.
I would say after as well. Yeah, because I don't think we'll see the big reveal that it's Clint until after he kills a whole bunch of people. You know what I mean? So I think that'll be it.
Now, you know what? Going back to Natasha, this is interesting. I just realized that her hair is braided in the shot where she's shooting at the target. But her hair is like
pulled up in
straight
that one. Yeah.
in the shot where she's like walking towards something with the rest of the Avengers looking up into the sky.
Yeah. She's got red hair.
So maybe that's she probably does have red hair, and they just kind of.
I think she'll start off the movie with blonde hair, and then whenever they get their big massive plan, or before that, I think she'll dye it red or something like that. I think she'll go back to old school, and then we'll get the time or maybe if there is a time travel, that's when you see her in red or something like that. But I do think you'll see her in her red hair. And then I believe the next shot and the last. Well, you get the title again, the logo, right?
I get something that's very exciting, which is Steve. He has the shield.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. And you've got him take. Yeah.
Which he gets the shield back. We all knew it was going to happen, but it's still
going to be a great moment.
It's
still going to be a great moment. And then you get the title reveal. You get the Avengers thing, right?
And then
after that, you get the shot of all of them walking through Avengers headquarters.
Yes.
With the sun in the background, and it's just a beautiful shot. I think everybody is not everybody, but like Cap and Rocket and War Machine and
Ant-Man, Thor, Black Widow, Hulk.
Yeah. But you still don't see, which I love. You still don't see Tony. You still don't see Nebula
or
Carol, which is cool. I don't think. We might get a new trailer after Captain Marvel comes out, but I kind of hope we don't. I hope they don't show her showing up at all.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. I don't think they will either. Honestly, don't expect us to get a whole lot of. How many trailers do you think we'll get after this, or TV spots? Probably
Infinity
2.
War just had 2 trailers and 1 Super Bowl spot, and I expect the same for this.
Probably, yeah. So we'll get one more trailer for sure, which probably will make us even more confused and drive us even more crazy, which is amazing.
That should be around when Captain Marvel comes out, or just after it.
Yeah.
So around early March.
Yeah, they'll definitely want to play it before Captain Marvel, like before the Captain Marvel movie itself. So yeah, this is. I'm so excited for this movie. I think I tweeted out as soon as it happened. Can we just please get this now? Can we tomorrow? Can we all just go and watch this movie, because I'm very excited for this movie.
I would say that between seeing the post-apocalypse and seeing people move around and do things, seeing Ant-Man, seeing Rocket, seeing War Machine, and more of the characters, and then getting like group shots of them together, where the first trailer kind of like set the stage, I'd say this TV spot in 30 seconds got me more hype. And I don't think that's to the detriment of the first trailer.
Yeah.
I would just say that there are more things happening, and I'm seeing more.
I think the first trailer was to make us feel like this is going to be a very depressing movie, like a very, because everybody was. I mean, you started off with Tony basically telling I just lost her name again. Wow, Pepper telling Pepper bye, and then you get shots of like Captain America crying, which breaks down that character a lot. You get pictures of Banner looking at people who have been snapped away. You get Thor looking depressed as always. You get all of these like depressing shots, and there's like not even the only uplifting shot is the very end of Ant-Man coming up, and it's not even that uplifting. It's just like, oh, they've got a plan, like that type of thing.
It's just everyone moping around.
Right.
That's the first trailer, which is great.
Yeah.
But this
one is like
got the ball rolling just a little bit, and that's.
Which is kind of like, saying like the first one was like they had like all is lost, all is gone. But then like this 30-second spot was like, no, but there's a little hope left. Like there's a little something left. They're not going to go down without a fight, which is great. So with all of that being said, with all of what we've seen, do you have any other speculation, any new speculation, do you think they are going one way instead of another way? What do you think?
I have ideas for the movie until like the 30-minute mark, and then I have zero idea what's going to happen.
The second and third act are going to be amazing because we have no idea.
I have no clue.
And like even like the first act, I only probably know like the first, not even know, like I only have an idea of like the first 10 minutes. But like I still don't know how Nebula and Tony get back. Don't understand. I don't know why Captain Marvel, shows up. I don't know how Ant-Man still gets out of the quantum realm because we still got to figure that out. Like there's so much.
Easily.
I do too. But I hope it's not like cheesy easy. You know what I mean? Like, or I hope it's not like him just showing up and like, hey, I got out of the without showing us. Like, I want us to see how he got out exactly, which I think we will. But I think this is going to be even better than Infinity War.
I have full faith in it. Something that I put up on Twitter was I think, and I don't have too much insider knowledge really. I think this is going to be a movie that shocks fans and general audiences. Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to be the movie that Marvel Studios is remembered for. And I don't think they're ever going to top it again.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
The movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and I think you could say that with I think Infinity War and Endgame back to back. Not back, like, I know there's Ant-Man and the Wasp in the middle, but like back to back basically. They're going to be remembered as like two of the greatest, or I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Not event movies necessarily, but like part 1, part 2. Like, not even a trilogy, because I know you count like Avengers 1 and Avengers Age of Ultron, but I feel like these two movies are of their own. Like, not even a part of, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Which I know those movies set it up, but I think Infinity War and Endgame are going to be the movies that in like 80 years people are still going to be like, hey, have you ever seen Avengers in like that type of thing? I think that's what it's going to be like.
I think this movie is going to be the pop culture event
of all time.
Maybe the decade or our generation.
I think of all time. Like, I really think of all time, because I don't know of a lot of other stuff that has this much hype around it, from not just like us nerds, but like from everybody, which is really cool. And what is really cool about this movie is like Infinity War, you kind of had to know what was going on before you went and saw it. Like, if you went and saw it, you would be very confused and like as a movie itself, Infinity War is not that good. But as like an event movie and as like a movie that has paid off for 10 years, it's fantastic. You know what I mean? It's not a movie that you could like just walk in and never have seen an MCU movie before and know what's going on.
I think you could get some enjoyment out of the action, but you would completely miss out on
the Infinity Stone.
Well, characters.
The only explaining Infinity War does is like the Infinity Stones very briefly.
Now, I would say the plot of Infinity War, they have kind of whittled it down to that simple premise of the Infinity Stones, and they do enough setup to where I think you could, I mean, it's not a guarantee, but you could enjoy the movie without having any idea what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that.
But I think that you would miss, like, a lot.
Yeah.
That so many people get out of it.
There is a lot of payoff in Infinity War for the last 10 years, which makes me even think, like, the payoff in Endgame is going to be so amazing. Like, it's going to be so amazing. Because what's so exciting about Endgame is, like, it's the end of a chapter, but it's also the beginning of a new chapter as well, which is very exciting, very cool to see. So, yeah, I think this might be the biggest pop culture event of all time, or close to it at least.
I have no doubts that it'll be just as good as Infinity War, if not better.
Yeah, I think it'll be. I think it'll be better, and I have no problem going into this movie with extremely high expectations, because I know it'll most likely. What I expect and what I get will be like this.
I'm going in with expectations through the roof.
Oh, yeah. And I think all of them... I think, like, what I have... Because what I thought of, like, Infinity War is, like, I had it all mapped out in my head, and, like, I only got, like, half a part of it right. And, like, most of the time that kind of, like, gets annoying or upset. With Infinity War, I was like, nope. However you guys did it worked completely fine. Like, what I had sucked compared to what you guys just did.
Oh, totally.
So, I think the same thing's going to happen with Endgame, which is great. Man, we're what? I know we're less than 100 days away, but we are 79 days away, so we are very close to Endgame, and I'm very excited for it. Do you have any other thoughts or any other speculations or anything about Avengers Endgame?
Apart from the fact that my body yearns to see this film.
No. My body yearns to see this film.
Yeah. I have to put it in a really, like, hard-hitting explanation.
Oh, yeah. I think we both are very ready. I know we are planning to see it as a group. I don't think I don't remember the date exactly for that, but...
Yeah, I'm throwing a party.
Yeah, we're throwing a party, but I don't think it's premiere night, is it?
No, that would be insane.
That would be insane.
I'm going just me and my wife and my brother.
Okay, I'm going with me and my brother-in-law and probably somebody else, but probably just me and my brother-in-law. And if he doesn't go, I'm definitely going premiere night. Then I'm very excited for it. That's like the coolest thing about all of these movies is like the premiere night when you go. There's so many people there and everybody's talking. There's a buzz. I remember Infinity War, like before we walked in, there was a buzz.
It's like a sporting event.
Yeah.
It absolutely is like a sporting event. And the way that people cheer for certain things.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I can understand being annoyed by that and wanting to go to the movie and just sit down and see it. You know, sit down, shut up.
This was one of the first movies I've ever been in where, like, at the end, people were standing up and clapping. Or, like, during the movie, people were, like, audibly, like, freaking out, and I was totally fine with it.
Captain America showing up.
That got one of the biggest, like, reactions at that one, and
Thor showing up.
Thor showing up in Wakanda, and I think the other one was when Spider-Man and Groot disappeared, that got like a massive like
and the snap itself.
Yeah. But like what was crazy is like when the snap itself happened, like in the entire movie, and which is really cool when you go back and watch it, is like there's no music, there's no sound in the like during the movie, and like you could hear a pin drop in our theater when he did the snap. Like nobody, like everybody was just like eyes were wide, but nobody said anything.
When Tony got stabbed on Titan,
yeah,
everyone was quiet except for this one woman in the front who was like, "No!" like really loudly. It was the funniest thing.
And see, when I saw him get stabbed, I was like, "Wow!" Like I was like, "Tony's dead here. Like they're killing Tony off here."
I didn't think he was gonna die.
I did, and then
yeah.
And then you got Doctor Strange doing his thing, and yeah, so the reaction in this movie I think is going to be 10 times like better.
No, and it's like those hype moments the Russo brothers are so good at.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think that this movie is just going to deliver them one after another.
And I really, really, really hope that this is not the last MCU directed film by the Russos.
I don't think it will be. I'm holding out hope.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it is, I think this is going to be their masterpiece.
Oh, yeah.
And
well, they've put on 3 great movies, but I'm counting 4 because I already know Endgame's probably gonna be great. But like really, on all honesty, because we both weren't big fans of the Captain America movie itself, like the first one. Like it was okay, but it wasn't like that great.
It wasn't one of the best,
right?
Yeah. I loved it when I first saw it and when I was younger.
Yeah.
And there are still totally things that I love about it, but I see a lot more of the flaws in it. But
yeah, and then
Winter Soldier,
the jump from the first Avengers to Winter Soldier is amazing.
It transformed his entire.
And then even like the jump from Winter Soldier, which is a fantastic movie, to Civil War, which is my favorite MCU movie of all time, is like there's still a jump from there to there because they're dealing with more characters now, which I think was their practice run for Infinity War. But then all of a sudden, like in that, Captain America and Winter Soldier were still the 2 main, and Tony were still the 3 main characters that got the most got the most time. But everybody else you still cared about, which was really, really cool to see as well. So I think the Russo brothers are going to go down as like the greatest superhero directors of all time.
And why that is because not only are they great at their cinematography and they're great at so many different things. Mm-hmm. They understand how the characters click, and they understand how the movies work with the fans.
Yeah.
And hearing them talk about how they make the movie, I'm just like, these guys are incredible.
Oh yeah. Did you see the? Do you own the DVD for Infinity War or the? Mm-hmm. Did you see the director sit down with all? I think it was the Russos and it was what's his name?
Which movie?
Avengers and Age of Ultron.
Joss Whedon,
and then Jon Favreau, and then he did Ant-Man.
Peyton Reed.
Yeah, and then I don't know why I'm blanking on names now. Black Panther director
Ryan
Coogler. And was there anybody else?
I
always screw his name up.
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, Taika Waititi showed up on like a video FaceTime thing for a little bit. Mm-hmm. But just to sit and listen to all of them talk. Was Kevin Feige in there as well? I don't think he was. I don't think he was. But
I don't remember, but yeah.
But like to sit and listen to all of them talk about like how they made their movies and then the lead up into Infinity War, and like all of them were on set for like each of their characters. They were able to like put in their input, was really cool to see and was really cool to listen to. And then like they did like a breakdown on YouTube. I forget what channel it was, but like of like all of their characters and like the importance of their characters and this, that, and the other. It was really cool to listen to them and kind of pick their brain a little bit of what their thought process is in every movie they do, which is really cool. So, but do you have any other thoughts or anything else that you would like to mention?
Not really, but I just have to put out there that this movie, if you don't know it already, it's going to
blow your mind.
Bring the house down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And our episode about it will probably be like 3 hours long.
As long as the movie. That's
if not longer. If not longer.
We'll have 2 episodes.
Well, we might have to do like a 2-parter, part 1, and then we'll wait.
We'll
wait a year, and we'll wait like 8 months to put out the title of it, and then we'll release the.
We'll call it Annihilation.
What was it? I don't even remember what the other titles were. Annihilation and. No, what was the other one?
Squeakquel.
Squeakquel. Or Chipwrecked. Yeah, Chipwrecked. Oh, man.
The road chip.
But I do believe at that point we will cut this episode. I think we've gone long enough. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we are both very excited for this movie. We're going to talk about it probably every episode leading into it as well. If you are still around, make sure that you hang out and go to the New World Nerds podcast channel as well. We're getting ready to go live there to do an Iron Man 3 review, so check that out. But I think that's going to do it. If you are new to our channel, make sure that you follow us, like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. If you're listening to the audio, if you want to listen to the audio version, you can find it at SoundCloud, iTunes, and Google Play. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, the Nerd Crew Podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at I'm Andy York. Jason does not have a Twitter, and he doesn't want you following him, even if he did. So don't do that. You can email us at nerdcrewpodcast@gmail.com. And I think that's all the plugs that we have. Oh, if you're a wrestling fan, make sure you check out our new podcast, New World Wrestling, coming out every Thursday. We're going to try to, at least, if my internet doesn't screw up like it did last week, and I was not able to post anything, so that was not fun. But yeah, I do think that's going to do it for this week's episode. For Jason, I'm Andy York. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being a part of the Nerd Crew, and we will catch you guys later.